on the old front porch, reckoning all the time they'd lost. Cowboys on a bye-week train, resting up, shaking off the pain. Dave Matthews playing on the radio, fiddle and banjo steal the show. Dreaming about that wide open field, Cowboys ready every year. Saturday Night Live, watching the screen, laughing loud, sharing the dream. KT pondering what's to be, Cowboys coming back, wait and see.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the One Star Cowboys podcast. I am Kevin Turner, flying solo tonight, recording this Sunday night, October 20th. Want to let you know we're getting back to our regular schedule after a little bye week action. So we'll be back a little later in the week with John Machota, Saad Youssef, and Kent Garrison getting you ready for the 49ers game on Sunday night. So I thought I would just do an episode of kind of wrapping on some of the big football games of the day because it was kind of a crazy day in some regards. I don't know if you could say the NFC picture is much more clear than it was. There are definitely some question marks at the top, and we'll see how the Cowboys kind of stack up. Let's start with next week's opponent, the San Francisco 49ers. They played the Chiefs. The Chiefs win that one 28-18. Deebo Samuel plays 3 plays, goes out with the sickness. Brandon Ayuk hurts his knee. Kyle Shanahan after the game says they fear it's a torn ACL, but we're not sure. So you could have a 49ers offense next week that is without Christian McCaffrey and basically has George Kittle running out there with Bell and the rookie Cowing, who did make a big catch today, Pearsall, who, got shot and played his first action today, Chris Conley. Like all of a sudden the 49ers offense does not look as formidable once you wipe out Deebo and Ayuk. Now, today, without his top 3 wide receivers, because Juwan Jennings was out as well, Brock Purdy was 5 for 14 with 3 interceptions, and the snaps of those guys weren't on the field. So we'll see. Still no official word on Ayuk. Deebo will probably be ready to go. It was odd that he missed, with an illness, but you got a 28-18 win from the Chiefs in a game where, Patrick Mahomes did not throw for any touchdown passes. So the 49ers have a tough loss. And I still don't think, that changes how I feel about their team going forward, even the Ayuk injury, because I do think they're dangerous enough in that offense to still be like a serious contender in the NFC. But 3-4, and right now the NFC is just so blah in the middle. And the Cowboys are one of those blah teams in the middle there. And I think that's where my thoughts are. When I look at the NFC North, you have all those teams. Like, I don't know how much I believe in the Bears. I still don't know how much I believe in the Vikings. And we should probably transition to them. By the way, Cowboys fans, Kareem Hunt, 22 carries for 78 yards. Not a great day, 3.5 yards a carry, but like it's something. And that's where I think you would just wish the Cowboys had something, at running back. That's all. We know our Cowboys gripes, we have our Cowboys gripes, and I don't know if we need to get into them in this podcast. We're just wrapping up on a weird week 7. So the Chiefs stay 6-0. I want to go to Vikings and Lions. Detroit, first place in the NFC North. They squeaked by the Vikings 32-31. Started out slow, but they ended up kind of putting it together. Sam Darnold, he starts to, this is something I've noticed in a couple of games where he's had the lead and then the defense kind of catches up and adjusts to whatever's going on. He starts to look really pedestrian when you can start hitting him a lot. And the Lions started doing that, towards the end of the game. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 8 catches. Jahmyr Gibbs, huge on the ground, 15 carries, 116 yards. Both teams now 5-1. Clearly, we know the Lions are real. The Vikings, I do think they're enough, and they do enough crazy things on defense to take them seriously. But, this is where I will go back to a lot of things when I talk about these teams and relate them back to the Cowboys. This is where I think the Cowboys' inability to add anything really hurts. Because if you tell me that the Vikings have a better team than them, I would say, well, that's not very true, at least when the season started. And here we are, and the Vikings are 5-1 with Sam Darnold, and this was a test case, team. You let your high-paid quarterback go, sign the $10 million quarterback, draft the rookie, and then J.J. McCarthy got hurt, clearly. But Sam Darnold has been fine, and you would take that quarterback play. I still don't know how much I'm buying it, though, as a whole. I don't know. 5-1 for the Vikings. They will have the Rams on Thursday night. Division games, Eagles 28, Giants 3. Daniel Jones gets benched in this game. Drew Lock comes in. He came in and looked bad as well. Fumbled and all that stuff. The Eagles had 8 sacks in this game. The game was never close. 176 yards on the ground for Saquon. The most for a player going up against his former team since Cedric Benson of the Bengals back in 2009. So Eagles now 5-2, and it's interesting because still don't think they're good. You watch them a lot and you're like, all right, I don't know how real that is. They got enough done today to make you. I said 5-2. They're 4-2. Enough done today, and they've got a couple of big wins. Not a win over the Giants is a big deal, but they've got the Packers win on opening night in Brazil. Saquon Barkley's had some huge games. He had a run of 55, 41, and 38 yards. The Cowboys don't have that guy. They're not going to get that guy, the 38-yard run this year. I doubt they get that. Unless it was like Turpin. So 10 yards a carry for Saquon today. And that's with, them missing 3 starters on the offensive line. So Eagles 28, Giants 3, Eagles now 4-2. Commanders win 40-7. They survive a scare. Jaden Daniels gets hit, leaves the game in the first half. They were up 10-0 at the time. But then Marcus Mariota walks in and holds down the fort very nicely. He had 6 scoring drives, and 18 of 23. Played really good. From what I saw, had kind of the red zone going on the side TV. And he did look to be in full command of the offense. And it didn't look like there's too much of a big drop-off. And we all know Jaden Daniels is, so far this year, an MVP candidate. But to have Marcus Mariota step in, there are worse backup quarterback options. Definitely. Washington scored at least 20 points in the first 7 games. Hadn't done that since 1999. So the Commanders get the big win. The Commanders are 5-2. Next week, they are taking on the Bears. They'll actually be, weirdly, a big game on CBS, 3:25. Bears and Commanders. I think that'll be the Tony Romo, Jim Nantz game. So that'll be fun. Jaden Daniels versus Caleb Williams. Assuming Jaden Daniels is good to go again. They think it's the ribs, and the reports are he should be fine. Then they got the Giants after that. Steelers, Eagles, Cowboys. I mean, the Commanders have a path to winning a lot of games. And you know what? Their bye week does not come until, when do they have their bye week? Because it's the 27th, the 3rd, 10th. Yeah, man, they're jamming. They don't have to play for a long time. Yeah, their bye week is December 8th. They get the late bye week as well. So stack up wins, get healthy. I can't believe it. Watch the Commanders are going to make the playoffs. Unbelievable. Might win the damn division. I don't love that. Panthers are so bad. Andy Dalton. Gross. Packers beat the Texans 24-22. Packers trailed by 5 at the half. 19-14. That should have never been that close. Jordan Love, 2 really bad interceptions in the first half. There was a special teams muff, which gave Houston great field position. I mean, Houston got 10 easy points off great field position from the Packers. And, C.J. Stroud only had 86 yards passing. So the Packers defense was there to play. Didn't get a lot of turnovers like they normally do. He was pressured on all of his dropbacks, half of his dropbacks. Like, the Packers were providing pressure, and they just couldn't get anything going offensively. Outside of Joe Mixon, who had a good day on the ground, the Packers were able to win that game 24-22, but it should have never been that close. Watching that thing up close, the Packers looked really good. And if they can ever play complementary football and piece it all together, the thing that it makes me think is I, as a guy who does like the Packers, I can handle penalties and kind of crappy special teams because I feel like I have a coach that can make up for some of those things. So it does bother me that they are penalized and have these special teams issues with Rich Bisaccia and have had these special teams issues for a long time. But it's tolerable comparatively to the Cowboys because I like my head coach, and I do feel like my head coach makes a difference on the offensive side of the ball. I always feel that way here in Dallas. So just something to chew on there. Packers look pretty good. Seahawks, 34, Falcons 14. Both teams 4-3 now. Falcons had a little momentum, coming out of the half, got a touchdown, 17-14. But then Kirk Cousins fumbled, had 2 interceptions. He had a Bijan 100-yard day goes to waste. Geno pretty steady today. 2 touchdowns. His first 2-touchdown game of the year so far. A great pass to DK Metcalf. Oh, that was a highlight for sure. Still don't love the Seahawks. Don't buy them 4-3. They're going to play Buffalo next week. Should tell us a little more about them. But I think of Seattle. Yeah, I would say they're better than Dallas right now. Absolutely. But I think of them in the same light, I think. Although I do think the Cowboys are bad now. So I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't. Bills 34, Titans 10. Amari Cooper, 4 catches, 66 yards, gets a touchdown. It also opened up things for Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakir, though. Having that other wide receiver makes everyone else on offense look a lot better. And you saw that very clearly. That's why it drives me nuts that the Cowboys just kind of did nothing. And I realize that the Buffalo Bills are probably in a different place from a franchise standpoint than the Cowboys are. You know, going for it and all that stuff and feeling like you got a chance to contend. And I know, as John has said on the podcast too, and we all kind of feel like, yeah, there's no way you were going to be able to get Amari Cooper. But man, to see how that would help. You know, just you know. It's a bummer. That's all. I want them to do something. I want my team to do something. And they don't. Bengals 21, Browns 14. Deshaun Watson injured. That's the big story from that game. Jameis Winston came in. They gave it to Dorian Thompson-Robinson first, but then Jameis Winston came in, and he looked really solid in a second-half touchdown drive. Browns are 1-6. They need to start reeling off wins, but, like, I hate to say this. I feel like with that injury, and we'll find out tomorrow sure if it's like for sure torn Achilles, it almost like it could inspire some like new hope, because I think they felt very hopeless with Deshaun Watson. Although after the game, Myles Garrett went to the podium and said that, you know, he's been a model human. So you can make with that what you will. Bengals get another win. Colts beat the Dolphins 16-10. Dolphins fall to 2-4. Story here is that Tua is probably coming back next week, which is terrifying. No one wants to see this happen to him again. Anthony Richardson, 4 of 13 for 61 yards and a red zone fumble. Those were his stats at the half. 4 for 13, 61 yards, and a red zone fumble. He finished 10 of 24, rushed for over 50 yards, but just a 42% completion percentage. Not great, but enough to beat a team like the Dolphins right now, who are a stinking mess. Second half, Waddle and Hill just sitting there going, okay, we have 1 target each. Can we get me the ball? But they didn't have anyone who could get him the ball. Rams beat the Raiders 20-15. Rams are kind of bad. They're going to get Cooper Kupp next week. You're going to get him back. He'll play on Thursday night against the Vikings, or likely to be back. But Rams go to 2-4. Raiders had tons of chances to win that game. Aiden O'Connell got hurt. Gardner Minshew comes in. But had a couple scenarios where they kicked a field goal rather than going for it. And Antonio Pierce is going to take some flack for that now. Brock Bowers, 10 catches, 93 yards. Having a monster rookie season right now for Oakland, for the Raiders. But, they lose again. Rams get that win 2-4 for your Rams. They had a morning game, of course, the international game. Jaguars 32, Patriots 16. Jaguars might have saved Doug Peterson's job. They're up to 2-5. Patriots 1-6. But that game is just disgusting. No one wants to talk about it, and I get it. And then the nightcap, Steelers beat the Jets 37-15. Game got a little out of hand at the end. You could say it was 23-15 going into the fourth quarter, and Aaron Rodgers couldn't really get anything going. Had 2 interceptions, 24 of 39. Devontae Adams, 3 catches for 30 yards. Definitely probably didn't know the extent of the playbook, but just not enough there. And then on the other side, Russell Wilson, 16 of 29, 2 touchdowns. They were able to get George Pickens involved, 5 catches for 111 yards and a touchdown. Not a ton of big offense, a lot of defensive plays, some blocked kicks and things like that. But, overall, you have a Jets team that's just not looking like they're very good. And I really thought this Devontae Adams thing would kind of get things going for them. Not over. 2-5 of the Jets, and the AFC is it's so top heavy and then bottom heavy. There is a path for them to do some good things. At the Patriots next week. Then they'll have the Texans on Halloween. And then Cardinals, Colts, Seahawks, Dolphins. Who knows what the Dolphins are. You'll get the Jaguars, Rams. You get some teams who aren't very good. You get the Dolphins twice, and I just don't know. I mean, if Tua's back, the Dolphins, you would say, well, they're a decent team. It's hard to really tell. But overall, I should mention the Monday night games, which we have 2 again, which I am tired of them doing that. Baltimore, Tampa Bay, both teams 4-2, and then you got Chargers and Cardinals. When you take a look at everything going on in the NFL from a standing standpoint, again, I do think it's interesting. In the NFC, there's going to be a lot of teams that get in around that 500 area. And the Cowboys and 49ers right now, just from a strictly like winning percentage, put them in order, the 10th and 11th, ranked team in the NFC. But I don't know, man. You will get a chance at the Falcons in a couple weeks and things like that. I don't know how they stack up from a talent standpoint. I feel like I know how they stack up, but I'm going to need to see something for the Cowboys that makes me have a little confidence they can go beat, these decent, I would call meddling teams. I mean, the Eagles, the Seahawks, the Falcons, really these bird teams are all just middle of the pack. And when you watch them play, you're like, okay, I've seen you when you play really good, but most of the time you're not in that gear. So it's very clear. Detroit, Minnesota, Washington, Green Bay. I'm interested to see how Tampa Bay hangs with Baltimore on Monday night. And the Bears, I think you need to see a little more out of them. But you kind of sit there and go, if you would have made a trade, done something, you could leapfrog one of these guys and at least get in the tournament. I think that was there for you. But no big trades or big moves yet to help the offense. And here we are. Still have the 6-0 Chiefs. Then you have the Texans. The Steelers at 5-2 now is weird. Bills 5-2. Ravens going to win tomorrow night. They'll be 5-2. Again, top heavy AFC with mostly teams that we expected to be there. And then very bottom heavy. Like I don't know what to think about the Colts and the Chargers and the Broncos. I think I know. I think they're not very good, but they might be able to get in. But still crazy. Still early. And we'll get you ready for Cowboys and 49ers with the rest of the group a little bit later in the week. Thank you for following us on the One Star Cowboys podcast. I want to remind you we have a Discord server set up as well where you can chat with us, in-game chats, picks and predictions where you can try to nail the final score. You get it correctly, John, and I'll Venmo you some money. So we've paid out one this year. Go ahead and get your picks in for Cowboys 49ers. We can go ahead and set that up, and we'll cut those off at 7:24 p.m. next Sunday. But give us a follow, a like, give a 5-star review. That always helps us a little bit. Maybe if you write a review, I'm not really sure. But if anything, tell a friend about the One Star Cowboys podcast. We'll have you ready with more Cowboys content as we get you ready for their game next Sunday night against the San Francisco 49ers. The 3-4 San Francisco 49ers, who will be more desperate than you, maybe. I don't know if anybody's more desperate than the Cowboys. Maybe the Jets. Maybe there's your other team in desperation mode. But we'll be back, and make sure you're checking out what John and Saad are writing over at The Athletic as well. I'm Kevin Turner. You can find me at KT Fun Tweets on all the social media sites. Also, the Ben and Skin Show, 3 to 6 p.m. on 97.1 The Eagle. And, that's where I'll be. All right. Thank you all for listening, and happy football, everyone. We'll talk to you a little bit later in the week on the One Star Cowboys podcast.
Saturday Night Live, watching the screen, laughing loud, sharing the dream. KT pondering what's to be. Cowboys coming back, wait and see.
Well, the secret sauce. The Genie, whatever you want to call it. That's why we're here, to be trite. We're trying to find the secret sauce to get us another one.